Let's do it. What is going on in the crypto world? Crypto world, crypto world. What's going on in the crypto world? Let's see. Let's update this bad boy. I think if I just start talking, people just start showing up. I think that is what's going to have to happen here. All right, let's find some better keywords to type in. Let's see. Okay, cool. Crypto market crash. All right, let's give this a go. How do I save? All right, there we go.
Somebody was right here and they said, wow, everything you're saying makes sense. I've got a project. All the pieces are actually pretty much there. Somebody was right here and they said, wow, everything you're saying makes sense. I've got a project. All the pieces are actually pretty much there. I just guess I'm not ready. And I said, that's going to be on your tombstone. Here lies so-and-so. He was never ready. Why is it that art you have to be ready for? In life, you didn't know you're going to get a flat tire. You didn't know you're going to go to work and be fired. Every day you're like this. You're not ready for anything life is throwing at you, but you become ready on the spot. Why is it that we think art and life should not be the same? Why art has to be, you have to be ready before you can begin? That's no relation. They should be the same. You're not going to be ready until you're almost done with a project, because a lot of the answers you need are not going to happen until you're on the journey. And that's what keeps most people from doing it.
Man.
Somebody was right here and they said, wow, everything you're saying makes sense. I've got a project. All the pieces are actually pretty much there. I just guess I'm not ready. And I said, that's going to be on your tombstone. Here lies so-and-so. He was never ready. Why is it that art you have to be ready for? In life, you didn't know you're going to get a flat tire. You didn't know you're going to go to work and be fired. Every day you're like this. You're not ready for anything life is throwing at you, but you become ready on the spot. Why is it that we think art and life should not be the same? Why art has to be, you have to be ready before you can begin? That's no relation. They should be the same. You're not going to be ready until you're almost done with a project, because a lot of the answers you need are not going to happen until you're on the journey. And that's what keeps most people from doing it. Somebody was
Oh, that's pretty epic. Oh, I like this.
right here and they said, wow, everything you're saying makes sense. I've got a project. All the pieces are actually pretty much there. I just guess I'm not ready. And I said, that's going to be on your tombstone. Here lies so.
Yeah, meditated or medicated, yeah. Wiz Khalifa, yeah. Let's just jump in some Twitter spaces while I'm researching stuff. When you wake up in the morning. Like, can I get 5 more minutes? I ain't really tripping over school. Let's get it. Wiz Khalifa, yeah. Get meditated over medicated, yeah. I gotta show some love. Rooster.
Thing, okay? Liberation Day. We're gonna liberate those fucking titties. That's basically all I got for you, boys.
We're gonna liberate them. Ah, man, he means it in a figurative sense, Grok. So don't be getting all crazy.
Oh no!
Don't be getting all.
You be lying to Grok, Rooster. This is crazy.
and like all those
Where do you
people.
think they
They've
make
seen those
shoes? Where do you think those
Yeah,
They
people
make
that
they make
no,
shoes in
but hold up.
Vietnam.
Let me
That's where
just
we get all the
continue to
shoes. That's
let me just
why Nike's
continue.
stock price is down so much.
No, Bad Brothers. They make certain parts of shoes and certain parts of things in Vietnam.
No,
It's
the
so
actual shoe they make over there. They don't make the shoe in America. I mean, they conceptualize
okay.
the shoe in America. They design the shoe in
Okay.
America, but they
You
don't make the
yes,
fucking
you are
shoe.
right. Nike stock price dropping 30% is not going to affect a single Nike employee.
Oh
No,
That
my
it
makes
will
God.
logic.
affect Nike employees. I'm saying the people that Espresso are talking about aren't really the Nike employees. They're the vast majority of like Midwestern and Rust Belt states who have seen all their jobs disappear.
And no one works for Nike in the middle of the US. No one. There's not a single Nike store there. There's not a single Nike retailer. There's not a warehouse anywhere in that area of the United States you're talking about.
Again, that's not the category of people I'm
How? It
talking about.
affects Nike as a whole. How are you not understanding that? It doesn't matter
Of
Will
course,
you
it
where.
will you
affects
be
Nike as a
chief
whole. I'm not
being why
arguing
are we gonna
that
get in a
Trump's.
why are we gonna be so like yell at people about this? Like
No,
your
it's just
demeanor to
simple
this
I'm
topic.
gonna
economics,
yell.
bro.
I'm gonna
If
start
you
yelling.
No,
I'm angry.
it's not about yelling. It's if how is it
Well talk
if
to
a
people just
company
talk to
okay,
people.
if a
Talk to
company
people.
is affected at the highest level, it doesn't matter where you land. If you work for that company, you will feel it. Dead ass. No one cares. Whether you
I'm not
work
arguing
offshore,
against that
onshore,
point.
whether you work wherever, you will feel it. No
I'm
matter what. And if
I'm
Hold
they
on,
not
hold
do
on. Let
arguing
me
against
progressive
it. I'm
rollouts and
arguing the
let me
progressive
people
let me
that.
just
layoffs,
let me
it
calm everything down a bit here. So
no,
like
there's nothing to
what
be calm. I mean, this is just
what I
simple
what yeah, no,
business.
I'm with you, Chief. Like what I
Simple
wanted to say
business.
is no, what I want to say is like it doesn't matter if you work at Nike or any of these companies. Um, the people who fare best in situations like this are the wealthy. And I
Understandable.
used to be quite not wealthy. And you know, today I'm in a lot better position. I still don't consider myself like ultra wealthy or Oh anything,
Fuck.
but like I can ride these waves so much easier than my old self. And so many of the people I know, like I have brothers, I got family members. Um, you know, and I'm fortunate, like I live, you know, kind of like all over the world. So like I can actually navigate this, you know, easier than I could have many years ago because like I can live in places where the cost of living is not nearly as high. And I can, you know, I can literally just like travel arbitrage if I really need to. And so like the people that fare best in this situation are the wealthy. The people who get hurt the most are the poor, are the working class. And it doesn't matter if you own stocks or not. The entire economy is in a shift right now, and it's not in the best state. So I just want to make that.
Yo, if you're listening live, if you wouldn't mind throwing a like on this video for me, feel free to drop any questions or comments, anything you want to see. I'm just researching the market and I'm gonna just be listening in on this Twitter space, different Twitter spaces while I'm researching stuff. So if you have anything specific you want to see or you want me to talk about, please feel free to let me know. If not, no stress. If you're just tagging along for the ride, no stress. But I appreciate you for being here.
They sustain their business. Motherfuckers on this side are getting fired. Come on now. It's logic. It's literally business economics.
I don't agree with tariffs. I think you're mostly correct in terms of Nike's not going to start making shoes here because
Exactly.
they'd
So
rather just have
motherfuckers here
people pay
getting
the
cut.
tariffs.
That's my
What I
point though.
am saying is that Trump promised a large portion of his base these tariffs and he's delivering on it, even though I think the tariffs are economically illiterate.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. That's the thing. We're not arguing if this is right or wrong. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, we each have our own opinion on that. I just think that if we break down just basic economics, they're not going to remove what allows them to become a business, which is the making of the shoes. So ultimately, someone else is going to foot that bill, whether it be in an employee like layoff or whether that be an increased pricing or something. As the balance will be balanced, you know. And so that's the whole thing. It's just that idea of living in fairy tale land that no, it'll, I don't know who's take, where's the yield come from? It's that question. Well, I don't know. We don't ask that question because we don't want to know, you know?
Yeah,
I have good.
I'd like to go to a more like positive like look on what's happening. So, you know, my viewpoint, and I think a lot of people's viewpoint, you know, Arthur Hayes wrote an essay, I think in January, kind of predicting this. And the president is in a battle with multiple parties, but definitely in a battle with the Federal Reserve. And you know, he wants the economy to bloom. And like it's pretty clear that he's being super aggressive right now for as a strategic positioning, right? Like this isn't somebody just willy nilly creating this situation. Like it is very strategic. He has some very smart people around him. He himself is quite smart. So like I believe he's doing this intentionally. Um, and so we are going to see like some spark here at some point. Like we're seeing a ton of negative price action and market impact, but ultimately like this dude does not want to see the economy tank. He wants to see the economy flourish for a variety of reasons, right? Like he definitely.
Right. That's what he was so proud about the first term, right? Is look at the market. I did the best. I mean, ultimately, this isn't something he can use and be boastful about, right? If it turns out for the best, it will be. At this point, he's not pointing his finger to the market in that sense. I mean, to just wrap this up, I saw Beanie's post and he was just basically saying this is kind of like ultimately there is one level of Goblin Town below this, right? Of like how much worse can it get? And basically in 6 days, all those numbers we saw remain the same, and no one decides to work out a deal, and we just fade that's the worst that it can get. But ultimately, the ground has been laid, right? And it's 6 days of progressive conversations and debates and dialogue to hopefully be better than where we were as of yesterday, right? So technically, it's quote unquote the worst it can get, unless absolutely nothing changes. Right. So that's where we kind of, if you want to look on the positive outlook, right, to just summarize all this, the positive outlook is all the cards are on the table, right? And there's time for people to come and kind of negotiate whether they agree with it or not, or whether they're going to even come to a consensus, right? There's still the ability to come and hey, this isn't final yet. In 6 days from now, we get to see if absolutely nothing changes, then I mean, enact phase two of it can get worse. But I don't think that no one in the world is going to want to come and play ball or talk or at least, knock a couple percent off or anything like that. So technically, the worst it could have ever been was yesterday. And you have, I guess, two scenarios to look forward to, right? When the 6 days are up, see exactly where we stand with those. And then ultimately, if anything changed, then we're in a better spot than we were yesterday, on April 2nd. If nothing changed at all, then it is what it is, right? So, I mean, I think that's the only way that you can look at it. It's the only way, I mean, is up and out, you know?
Yeah, I have a. You talked about Arthur Hayes. He did post something about 8 hours ago saying Trump's terraforming is further evidence that he's laser focused on reversing these imbalances. The problem with treasuries is without money exports, foreigners can't buy bonds. The Fed and the banking system must step up to ensure a well functioning treasury market, which means Burr. So I do what been thinking that Trump's trying to force the hand of the Fed to lower interest rates or turn on the money printer. And what happens when that happens? And we're at a pivotal point of the DXY, which is the strength of the dollar. It's at a bottom here. The last time it held up was in 2023. Does it finally break? So the Fed's seeing all this, but I think the thing that is kind of like the thorn in the side here is we don't have a next FOMC meeting till May. I know Jerome Powell talks tomorrow, and maybe he can speak some dovishness into the market. But we're at pivotal points of the DXY, and Arthur Hayes is basically articulating what we've been saying: is Trump is trying to force the Fed's hand by money printing or lowering rates, which would be a positive effect for crypto in all markets. So, yeah, I do think the operation's over. You're starting to get the gas mask off it, and people are trying to figure out how to digest the surgery. I do think the surgery could go back in, say no, we fucked up, and but I do think we're recovering from the surgery, and it's time to heal and get into some physical therapy. And I think it's up only from here. I do agree. So
Yeah, I
that's a
mean,
bit of the
like
macro.
that was a good. I mean, regardless that it came from Beanie, but I sat and I was like, yeah, I mean, more or less, he's right. I think the worst that could happen is nothing absolutely changes, and all the shit we saw happens, and we just got to deal with that. But other than that, there's still the 6 days or whatever that there could be some deliberation, dialogue, and there probably will be. Right, this is going to disrupt a lot of industries. And then another thing too that I don't think a lot of people are understanding is there's a subset of goods that are not falling in any category and are not taxed at a egregious amount or anything like that or reciprocal across all countries, right? I think it's like specific stuff for medicine. Like there's like a handful of 4 or 5 goods that trading will still be free and kind of not free but just what it was, and that aren't affected by any of these new changes. So
Ooh,
to a certain extent, like medicines and stuff
wow.
like that, like let's just say the essentials will still have a way to get here at a non-inflated rate or extremely taxed, so to speak.
100%. This is something that fell under the radar. We were talking about the purchase of TikTok yesterday, and it looked to be bought by
Oh, they
Blackstone, which is a
won.
and A16Z own TikTok now
Bro,
based
that
off
dude is,
Kickstarter
look,
approval.
that the AI is about to go crazy now. They're about to take everybody's face data and just start going hard with it, man.
Yeah, so White House officials and TikTok did not immediately respond to the request to comment, but Andreessen Horowitz, Blackstone, and General Atlantic declined to comment. With Cody, Silver Lake, and CCR not immediately in response, any deal would need to be approved by Trump, as well as ByteDance and the Chinese government, which previously threatened to block any transaction, but has since softened since its stance. ByteDance would retain a stake at just below 20 cents percent and the business under the terms of the deal in order to meet requirements U.S. legislation that state that no more than fifth be in control of a foreign adversary. So I don't know if this is off the board now that China we implemented a tax, but with Blackstone, which is a part of BlackRock, and A16Z, which is huge in tech, is a great combination. And I'm starting to think maybe there's some might be some crypto in TikTok in the future. Both of these people are huge in the crypto, huge in the tech. And I'm wondering now with the purchase of them by approval by the president in China, of course, if maybe in a year from now we start seeing crypto and maybe a TikTok card that, that X is doing. So
Dude,
I do think a lot of,
that'd be good, dude.
yeah,
Because here's one of my biggest problems with TikTok, because like so I went through like 3 days of just going on there and debating leftists on TikTok Live, which was hilariously funny. But the TikTok Live thing is so much better than Spaces. Like you can have like 8 fucking people up there and they can all do video and you can actually share shit. So much better. But the annoying thing is like you could so easily get banned. Like you have to speak in code. Like you can't say rape, you have to say grape. You can't say shoot, you have to say pew pew. So it's like all that shit is fucking annoying. But yeah, like if you had like actual because it's like A16Z and that, if they're like because what do you call who's the big guy with that? I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
Andreessen
Yeah,
Horowitz.
yeah, yeah. If like you have like these people who are like with kind of Elon and like free speech and that type of thing and that Reddit, and if they start going like more free speech direction than that and like more that thing, this could actually be good. For TikTok in the U.S. So does this only affect their U.S. business though? Like when they say 20%, that like a TikTok U.S. thing, or is that all of TikTok? I don't know.
That's a good point. I have to get into details. I mean, it says that ByteDance would still own like a percentage of it. So I imagine it's probably the the main TikTok is probably going to be bought since China is involved. It's the U.S. version. I don't know if China would be involved. So, Unc, do you have any details on that? If it's the U.S. version or the main
I,
TikTok?
I don't know if it's a US version or the main version. I think it's a US version because they have definitely a different algorithm on the China one. But I just want to make one comment on what Bad Brother says. You're right about the grape and the pew pew and all these other words. It's the same thing happened on all social medias during 2020, 21. They were like heavily censoring everything. So it's just now that people are realizing people just want to say bad things that people think are bad, whatever. It's YouTube now is allowing it. Now you're gonna tell me that TikTok allows it. Twitter is obviously allowing it. Facebook now
Oh my
allows it. So
God.
it's kind of a free speech revolution, in my opinion. This is one of the milestones.
Yeah, it's the knee jerk reaction of the left and then now the right's in, now it's like non PC. It's just a knee jerk reaction of administrations and people moving back and forth. Like we've been indoctrinated in the past since COVID of like PC this, and now Trump's in and everybody's like, fuck that PC shit. We're going back to freedom of speech, which is kind of fits the right's narrative. Did you guys see Jack Dorsey saying that Bitcoin will become irrelevant if it's just a store of value, bro?
We were talking about this yesterday. I mean, it
I
gets to the
completely agree
point.
with him.
You
Yeah.
do? Because that's the main marketing pitch right now. It's digital gold, which is a store of value. If he says it's not being used for payment, it's going to zero. And it fits exactly what he came out and said he's doing. So I don't know. Like people say he's Satoshi Nakamoto, but Jack Dorsey confirms that Block is working to let 4 million merchants accept Bitcoin. They process 200 billion annually. So I don't know if this was him being for real or him to market his new product
Well, the
for
other
Bitcoin.
thing he said was like, we could do better than lightning. So, what do you call? I'm all for that. And yeah, I agree with him. Like this whole store value narrative. Like, I think it's good for this moment, like in terms of getting Trump's buy-in and everything, because then they go, oh, well, we could do stablecoin that strengthens the U.S. dollar. Bitcoin's just a store of value. Like that strategically has been good, but like I have vehemently disagree with like Sailor and those types of people who think like that's what it should be. He said things like saying it could replace the dollar, or that it should be used for transactions needlessly inflammatory. I mean, Bitcoin was made to replace other currencies. Like that's why it was made, and I think that is still the end goal. And I think like yeah, sure, there are issues we are dealing with in terms of like okay, how do we scale this and that or whatever? But it's like, I don't know, over longer time frames, that's still my 100% goal. So I'm happy someone like Jack Dorsey, like, who has the money, who has that mentality and all that, and has the reach. Like, this is something I always thought, like, back in the day. Like, he has the same thought as me, where it's like, okay, what if we just bought, like, a payment processor? Because I used to work at companies, and, like, I used to work at Publix, right? And we had, like, our ATM network and our payment system, and I had to audit that. I'm like, okay, what if I owned one of these and I could just like sneak a Bitcoin update in there and let people all now every payment processor could accept Bitcoin or something, like just as a fun idea. But that's like actually what he's working on. So like I'm happy he's doing that. So shouts out Dorsey.
I don't know, man. It's Bitcoin maxis have been punished for selling their Bitcoin. So I'm wondering how they get around this fact of them converting to using their Bitcoin at one point instead of just hodling it, which has been the ultimate money making opportunity for someone that's held Bitcoin for the past 12 years. Anytime you've ever sold it, you've been punished. So how do we get the people that actually hold the largest amounts of Bitcoin to actually change their motivation, actually start selling it and use it as
But at the
like
end of the
a
day, that's
currency?
why that line, it's like a misconception where it's just like, okay, yes, hodl your Bitcoin, but it's just like if you could transact in everything in Bitcoin, then it's just like, okay, you just hold all your Bitcoin and buy what you need as you would in life in general, right? So it's like you're not selling your Bitcoin, you're just exchanging it for something you need. But when you have the store value mentality, then it's just like, oh, anything is selling Bitcoin because you have to convert the fiat, do this, like, yada yada. But like, if you lived in a world where like the U.S. dollar was replaced by Bitcoin, then it's like, of course you're going to quote unquote sell your Bitcoin because you need food. So
Yeah. What do you think, Chief? You think that this is something that'll actually happen? I don't think it. There's no way that it becomes a payment layer. I mean, maybe for a niche country or something like that, but there's
No, I
already
mean, the
better
issue
currencies
is
that there's already people that do this, bro.
it's
Like
what we were
there's already
talking about yesterday. The issue is you're now battling you before it was, let's just say, the cypherpunks, the revolutionaries versus the maxis. Hey, you have to use this eventually. No one's going to be using the network. Block rewards are going to be low, XYZ. What we talked about yesterday, right? Just that constant back and forth of, hey, we can't secure the network if there's nothing going through it. And then it was that cypherpunks versus them. With the introduction of ETFs and these other people and now institutions that are going to treat Bitcoin like gold, right? All of this is just fast forwarded, let's just say 2, 3, 4x now, right? Because you have another side of this that's now the institutional side that's creating a Bitcoin reserve for themselves to just treat as gold, right? And to use as a hedge for other things, to borrow against it. But they do all of that in their own private sector and realm. So it's almost like that Bitcoin is off of the market for you and I. And it is now we have less Bitcoin to even convince people to use. And the longer this goes on, is the supply crunch happening every day at a faster and compounded rate. Right? So
so
it's kind of
that
like
makes
revolution. That's why Ordinals was so big. And that's why that whole idea was so big. It's because they literally have a very, very limited a time to one, attract devs, two, attract basic, not necessarily scalability, but usability. Like, what can we do with it? Can I take a loan and not sell it and then be able to grab fiat and use it and move it around? Like, there's got to be something that I have to move it around for. And in that process, paying miners, securing the network, etc. Because the idea, that's the issue. The ETF, Bitcoin, when they take a loan against that, that's not on chain. When they go and they hedge all these bills and all this bullshit that they're doing in Web 2, they're just going to say, "Yo, check out my Bitcoin stash. You can see it's there. Look at how big it is. I'll put 25% of that up as collateral." And that's it. And you're just referencing that as if it was a modern bank vault. That's what these ETFs are just digital modernized bank vaults. And so they're going to interact the same way that banks interact now with money that we have no idea, right, about, is what they're going to do with Bitcoin. And since they're trading synthetics, we can't track that anymore. So this is their way of recreating the fiat system to basically the smoke and mirrors. Yeah, we have a reserve. It's set up here. This is our wallet address. This is the Bitcoin. But we've actually issued out a couple different stocks from this reserve that are backed. Some are backed 1-to-1. Some are backed 1-to-2. Some are backed 1-to-100. And it's just going to be different varieties of that. And we're back into the same system now instead of just using quote unquote gold as the underlying standard or backing, and now today just fucking air and hope. We're now gonna start over and try to, at least for now, these next couple, let's just say 5 to 10 years, it'll be 1-to-1 or backed by Bitcoin or on a closer scale, but the same way how any other monetary system grows with leverage and risk, it's gonna go right back down the fiat system. And the beauty that we had, or what we thought we would have, right, which is the transparency aspect, is gone because we're going to be trading in synthetics, right?
Well, yeah, people
And
are gonna
that's
have to
it.
learn too that when those things fail, and then oh wait, I don't actually have Bitcoin because I have my Bitcoin with XYZ company, and then they're gonna have to want to self custody, and like these are like self correcting mechanisms that
Solo las
happen
personas contra
over years. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's what's happening right now, Chief, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, like
por
obviously Bitcoin
déficit
was,
de atención e
made for the people, power the people, and we've created the narrative. And slowly, there's been a transfer of wealth. Like retail is out; they're in debt. No one can buy Bitcoin; they don't have any money. So, in during this time, who's been gobbling up all the Bitcoin? It's been BlackRock, it's been Fidelity, it's been all these others. So, if anybody can change the narrative to this being a digital payment, I could see these big entities like BlackRock and these, changing it, using their social media or using their media presence or using their talking heads on TV to kind of convince people once they gobble up all the Bitcoin from all the retail that you need this
But I
Bitcoin
don't
now
think
to
it'll be
actually transaction.
Bitcoin. It'll be, you need this Bitcoin, buy IBIT. It's backed by Bitcoin. We've been buying Bitcoin for the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And so that's like Bitcoin is going to be the carrot. It's just going to be that carrot that, oh, well, I've never tasted a carrot before. So you could fucking give me a carrot and an apple, and if I've never tried either or seen either, they're the same thing. Until someone walks up and is like, "Yo, dude, you like apples?" You're like, "No, man, I love carrots." They're like, "Oh, well, that's an apple." And you're like, "Oh, why? They taste really sweet. I thought it was the same thing." And they're like, "No, no, no. Just looks the same." So that's my thing. It's like we're getting to a point where Bitcoin is going to be the talk of the town, the whatever at the end of the stick. But when they walk up and say, "Yeah, let me get some of that," they're not going to be able to get some of that in the way that they think, right? And Bad Brothers was right. It'll be self-correcting. I mean, one of these companies has to implode. I mean, rip, but one of these companies has to more or less implode. Some fuck shit has to happen, and so people can lose faith in them and not go down that route.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
like
it'll just become too expensive to buy for a normie or for me or you. So
it's just a bank run, but with Bitcoin, is it? Like, oh wait, they don't actually have that. As I'm trying to withdraw it, same thing we see with crypto exchanges.
Yeah, I have one thing on runes, and then we'll get into the daily today's mints. It looks like Slingshot, which was teasing us that they're going to implement runes. Basically, a day ago, we decided to pause development on BTC meme coins rune support indefinitely. This decision has not come lightly. However, we are pleased to share that we'll enable Litecoin meme coins instead. If this is a fucking April Fool's joke, I don't know. I'm just bringing it out there. I don't know.
was this
Wait, who
Is
said
that?
that?
a day ago, or was this
It's a
actually?
day ago, but a day ago was the second. So
Yeah,
oh, it
that
says the first. It's at the first at 2 p.m. So maybe they aren't. Yeah, I got fucking trolled again.
I'm like, bro,
Damn,
I
we
don't
Because
know
got April
anybody that would
Fool
support
on
Litecoin
April
that's
anything.
what
3rd.
I was saying. I was like, after I was reading, I'm like, this is a troll. And then I looked at the date is one because I thought it said a day ago. I thought it was the second. So I was like, I'm free. This isn't a troll. Runes are down bad. Maybe they're getting rid of it. So that does look like a troll. So never mind that. It does look like Slingshot is going to have runes support someday somehow. We have today's mints. Not I don't know much on here. We have stuff spiky nads on Monad Testnet, Doberman on Abstract, Beat Blocks on Bitcoin. That's generative music on Bitcoin. Bitcoin holders will have access to their platform to generate music and inscribe it on Bitcoin. They're boasting about low inscription costs, faster loading, and more accessible creators. It is good to see something unique on Ordinals, and I hope this project will be successful, but I doubt it because the current market sentiment around Ordinals and its inexpensive mint price. It is 0.001, which I think is around like 100, $120 or something. So that's going on. We have Move Lori's on Movement. Her Movement NFTs are kind of pumping recently. So check those out. We have AI Avengers by Zuru. That's on Barachain. Building on-chain reputation protocol. I guess similar to Ethos. Interesting concept. Useful for implement well. I think it will do well in the long term. He thinks it's going to be small profits. We have Hypeno on Hyperliquid. We have Floating Islands by Damen on Solana. We have Ghibli Punks on ApeChain and Dirt Islands by XAI. So that is your mint schedule for today. I think we have On-Chain Heroes is having a mint on the 8th, and then we have Eternals having their mint tomorrow. So those are kind of two things
There's the
that
Seize Control mint that's going on right now. I mean, we'll go
okay.
into it a little bit later, but yeah, Seize Control and their troops and all that is going on later on. Well, it's actually going on right now, but the public will go on in an hour or so. So it's only been for whitelist.
What up, Polymath? We just kind of called out the Eternals. You want to give a quick, brief, like time and mint update on that for tomorrow, bro? I don't know if it's going to be happening during our show, so I just want to make sure everybody's okay with the time and the mint price and all that shit. What's good, bro?
Oh no, what's up, boss? I appreciate that. Yeah, man, it's tomorrow up on Magic Eden. It started at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow. Yeah, I just hopped up. Bro, I ain't been getting no damn sleep. I've been meaning to get up here all week. But man, what y'all been up to, man? I heard y'all been showing super love into the project. So how y'all been doing, man?
Good, bro. I just pinned up your pinned post. April 4th, 2025, 10 a.m. Eastern on Magic Eden, 4,444 pieces, 0.004. Magic Eden's the launch pad. You have the chosen list phase, you have VIP, and then you have public. So now we're looking forward to this, man. You guys
Nah,
spent a lot
I
of
really
time
love
on it.
that.
I know you've been working on it for a few months, so hope you guys do well, man.
Yeah, man, luxury ordinals, man, because I mean, like we did more. I want everybody to know that we put more, and we took over 150, Bitcoin blocks. We got the number at the time, the number six largest Bitcoin inscription. We got over 2,200 traits, which is like there's no collection on Bitcoin that has nowhere near as many traits as we got. We left no stone unturned. We put I put my heart and soul into the art, and then ultimately, like with the community, I do want to take community to the next level where again we get to know each other for the ones who want to on a more deeper level for us. Getting to know each other, birthdays, family, kids that we actually build and like take this to the next level. So appreciate y'all, but I just came to kick it and hang out and let's fucking get it.
Did you used to work for On-Chain Monkeys?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like I didn't work
Can
for.
you give a breakdown on this Katoshi mint that they're doing? I don't know if you've been paying attention. It's on
No,
the 8th.
I actually don't like. I mean, honestly, like like when I joined the team, I joined it as like not employed, but as like an advisor. You know what I mean? And as a consultant. And since I've left, I mean, they're obviously doing things contrary to what I would think they should do. I mean, about 4 months ago, they took the Katoshis from us on ETH, put a sticker in front of them, and where they pretty much was untradeable on ETH. They quote unquote burned them. It's been a couple months. I haven't been able to own it on BTC. So I'm just trying to understand personally how they're dropping ones that they didn't mint out last time, but then also releasing the ones we already had. So I'm a little confused to be honest. What's going on there to be to
I
be
think
to be
the easiest explanation of what this seems like, or what I've gotten as I follow this, is how the D gods did it, right? How they did the dead gods or whatever, how they supposedly burned all of those, and those dead gods were the ones that became the BTC collection. That's similar to what they're rolling out with these Katoshis. And then I think not the carrot at the end of the stick, but the enticing part is that a celestial will be able to be minted for the first time. I'm not too in depth with the OCM lore in terms of like how celestials come up, cannot, but from what my understanding was that these weren't able to be minted before. You had to have like a combination of traits and treats and just kind of like an equation. And now with this mint, I guess the reason why you'd want to participate, besides just collecting the new Katoshi art, is the potential of minting a celestial. So that is on, I guess, Magic Eden on the 8th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It's a collection of 2,100 with the price of 0.0042 Bitcoin. I mean, and you guys can go do what it do, put notifications on, twerk, probably get some allocation based on if you hold some beforehand. So the
Hey,
traditional grind.
quick, and I want to move on because I know how y'all roll. How y'all feeling the art I dropped? Is y'all fucking with it? Y'all feeling it? Have y'all looked through the collection at all? Just Anything y'all
Your
can
art,
say?
the internals, bro.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything like it, to be completely honest, bro. So
That's
it's
dope.
different. I haven't seen, like, I like the Roman esque to it. We don't have really humans on Bitcoin. I like the kind of goddess look of it, the gold. So actually, it's not bad, dude. Like, I've been trying to figure out where I've seen it before and I haven't. So at least you did something that's unique and different. And so I'm fucking with the art, to be completely
Yeah,
honest.
bro, it's 44 collections in one, bro. It's really each piece is really only one of one. It's 101 of each pieces, so it's really a unique collection. But thanks for that compliment. But I know how y'all roll. Let's kick it. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, stay up here, bro. Don't need to. You can comment and whatever you want to say, bro. We got control up here, Chief. You want to go into that before we move
Yeah,
on?
yeah. Before we go to bear or anything, we'll wrap up some Bitcoin stuff. So there's the seize control. I'm gonna put the guide on how to play their newest I don't know, game, adventure, right? Experience. I mean, that's one thing these guys don't do is one, disappear, and then two, leave you bored, right? I mean, a lot of collections just mint some shit and you don't know. Well, I mean, they're at least using whatever you've minted before in the past, interacted with it, and always building on top of that. So, shout out to them, the Seize Control team. So, I'm going to put up top exactly kind of how you go about it. There's a video in here that you can watch, and it puts together exactly how this works, right? They did a combination of, let's just say, like a strategic Warzone game, right? So you have cards based on their last drop of those no ordinary cards, right? Kind cards. There's troops. That's the mint that I was talking about earlier. They have it live right now for whitelist if you hold any cards or you're a previous asset holder, or like the little condom characters that they had, or it'll go for public here in about an hour, as I mentioned. Anyway, you watch the video, and it's basically you submit characters to go into the battle, right? You can do groups of troops based on how many characters you actually own. Depending on how many troops you send into battle, it'll be based on the size of the ship that you use, right? Whether it'll be a plane, a truck, a car, or whatever it is. And then ultimately, it's just a strategy on chain game. As you're winning, either you're losing or winning these battles, you unlock specific traits for your character, right? For the main character, let's just call it the operator. Ideally, at the very end, you have a character that you like that you've customized, basically made yourself a little custom one of one through winning, and they inscribe that character on the rare sat, right? So it's been a minute since I thought about this, but I think there's only four right now in circulation. They're in possession of three of the four, and one of them is just out there lost in the ether and whatnot. So they inscribed collection one on the very first set that ever existed, the rare set that we've ever found, and then they inscribed collection two using some type of parent child off of that set itself, right? Oh, never mind. Yeah, there's four. They're in possession of two, and then the Epic team had one of them, and then the other one is lost in the Bitcoin space. So yeah, if, at the end of the day, if you play this game, you win. You get to have your base character immortalized or on Bitcoin on a rare sat. So similar to how that Gob is Gob game, and we were doing that just on chain games, right? It's the same exact thing, but now through, well, not the same thing, a different gamified experience, but an on chain gaming on Bitcoin. So
Are you playing?
no.
No.
I'm not gonna, bro. They want me to give them some sats to play no. I'm not doing none of that. Well, I play on chain games on chains where it's cheap to play on chain games, bro. Like that only makes sense, you know? Like, cause I like this shit. So if I'm doing microtransactions, I can't do a $3 microtransaction. That's a little too rich for my blood. You know, like that's like an ante at the casino table, but what I win from winning this table is not worth the $3 yet. You know, I got to win the tournament to make it worth it. So that's kind of how I look at it, right? It's longevity of the game since I like these Ponzi's, and ultimately margins. Like, is every round the amount of money that I put on to sit, to play, to participate, to acquire new characters worth whatever it is the prize is? And then you kind of scale and gauge your way out continuously on that end.
So you think the transaction fee is kind of like the force that's keeping you away? If it was cheaper, you think you would have played? Do
It's
you
not.
even
It's
like this
not.
kind of game?
I mean, it's not necessarily about it being cheaper. It's just, look, man. There's. I can grab a screw and use a hammer to get it in the wall, or I can use a screwdriver, right? I mean, there's a spot where these games thrive and it's fun and it's quote unquote cheaper, pennies on the dollar, and the margins make sense to play games like this. Me personally, I don't think that that makes sense marginally. And on top of that, wasting Bitcoin to do this. That's why I didn't play the Gob is Gob game or any of that kind of shit, right? I mean, I still see this as an underlying scarce and luxury asset. And so I still hold my Bitcoin and hold my Bitcoin in that sense, right? So I think there's better places to do it. And to me, Bitcoin's not the solution for everything, it's a solution for a lot of things. But I mean, you don't have to have, DeFi Ponzi 8 layers deep on Bitcoin. I mean, that sounds fun, I guess, but you have to sacrifice something for it, right? And so why, when I can go to a chain where I don't have to sacrifice anything for it, that's designed for this shit? That's kind of how I see these on-chain games or Bitcoin stuff, you know?
Yeah, so bridge it over the abstract, I guess.
Yeah,
You're saying.
Abstract, Monad, Sonic, fucking Bera. I mean, all these are Ponzi or cheap as fuck chains that are kind of designed for this. And I mean, my $5 on one C's control shit is gonna give me a whole week of playing over there. You know? So think about it
100%.
that way. It's like sitting at a slot machine. I don't know, dude.
Yeah, Steady Teddy's had a post saying there probably reveals incoming. Will you Diamond Paul holders GMI? And then you look in there and there's a little coin in his thing, Teddy coin. What do you think? Holding these things after pre-reveal be like a multiplier for the airdrop, Chief?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's proof of liquidity, so they're ultimately going to apply for a vault to get emissions and to get rewards, and then to slowly move around that way. So everything on Barrow requires a token. How exactly they Ponzify their token, whether that be through staking, the traditional shit, bro, the shit that's on every chain. I mean, it would be cool to see if they did something different besides just lock up your NFT and get some coin. But ultimately, the coin will be distributed to all the assets. And I think you may be onto something. It's like after reveal, if you don't list until the snapshot, you'll probably get a higher allocation rather than if you sell and then buy it right beforehand and then, get included in that snapshot then.
Doesn't Apiology DAO have like 888 Steady Teddies?
Yes. They
So they have
get
like
roughly about
6K
10% of
seats.
they get 10% of every project that they've made a deal with,
Jeez. So there's like
along with
6K
everything.
seats. 6K seats that cost 1.2 ETH to get a seat. Their airdrop's probably gonna be massive for Teddy's, bro.
But you don't get it. That's the thing about it too. That's one of those things. It's like I don't get the way the DAO works. It's interesting, right? It's a pretty cool. Um, like you get all this stuff goes into the DAO's value, and then they divide it evenly by the number of seats, and then you can take a loan against your seat, if that makes sense. So let's say the Drow Treasury is set at 100K, right? And then there's 10 chairs or 10 seats in the DAO. That means that each chair of the DAO should technically have a value of 10K. And I can take a loan of 8 against my DAO seat because of that. Or I can sell my DAO seat through an auction, and basically people will see the underlying value. So the seat can only increase in time. I mean, increase in value with time.
Are you playing DeFi Dungeons?
Uh, no.
You aren't? All right. Did you
I
sell
sold
your
my
guy?
shit. Yeah,
Okay.
dude. I was gonna
So
talk about that. Look, I mean,
I was doing we were doing the calculations on the bankers. Well, after one day, this guy says, bankers, you pay 300 or 35 SOL, which is $4,600, which make 11 gold per hour, which is 36 cents. At this rate, you will make your investment back in 454 days or 1.48 years. So when we were talking about how once this game starts and people start doing the calculations on these bankers, that bankers are going to go under 10 sol, well, you're not going to get your investment back for another
but look,
540
bro,
days.
this is where you get people on the timeline and not doing your own information or research kind of get you slaughtered. So homie goes and tweets 3 hours ago. 12 hours of playing DeFi Dungeon. Mind you, this is a passive online idler. I made $90 with low level heroes. This is the most fun I've had in Web3 gaming. You're like, holy shit, bro, $90, 12 hours. That sounds pretty damn good, bro. He's making a bank. And so you're like, hey, how many do you have? ultimately he's not going to say anything, right? So someone went through his tweets and just figured out what his last, when he tweeted how many he had. He made $90 and he owns 63 heroes. Okay? So each hero was $325. I mean, we're just going to talk about how down bad homie is, right? So just so y'all don't get this shit twisted. 325 times 63, right? He spent 20 grand to make $90 every 12 hours, bro. He is down bad. He's not going to see the upside of this investment ever unless you buy into it. That's
How
exactly
much would
why
he
he
make if he
said,
staked into Barra, bro? Would he be making more than $90 if he stake that 20 grand into Barra, bro?
what?
If he were to stake that 20 grand into Barra, would he make more than $90 a day?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why would he? Like, I don't
Their
understand where his.
stables yields over there at like 40%, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like this dude basically, I guess, drank the Kool-Aid and thought that he was going to make more than passive staking, and now is totally wrecked because he's making $9 a day.
Yeah, I
He's not
mean,
going to get
look,
his.
and then he's gonna tell you, well, the heroes can go up and level up, and the price of gold can go up, and then I'm gonna ultimately make more than $90 a day. Look, every time one of those things changes, there's someone on the other side selling that have a lot less than fucking 63 to get off of. I'm just, let's be honest, bro. We've been on both sides of this scenario, right?
What's going on, guys? Oh, sorry, I'm just eating. My voice all messed up. If you guys want to see anything specifically, I'm just kind of researching, just going over the top 100, seeing what's going on. Obviously, crypto is down, but I'm happy to research, look at anything you guys want to, give my take. Been in crypto for a few years, so nothing's financial advice, but wouldn't mind giving my take or my opinion on anything. Just we're listening into this space until there's any specific questions. That's it. Oh, last thing before I go back. If you guys could for me, please throw this video a like. Let's get some more people in here. Drop a comment. I'd really, really appreciate it.
Games work. So nothing against it, but they're whale games. That's why the first ones were literally called whale game, right? So wolf game. It's all the same shit.
None of them last. Not even the chains. You see Treasure DAO shutting down.
Yes, I have a post on that too, bro.
And the fact that we had to find this through Woo blockchain just tells you kind of everything. So John, the chief contributor of Treasure DAO, a blockchain economist, announced that he would terminate game operations in Treasure Chain due to deterioration of financial conditions and the need for restructuring. Documents show that annual operation expenses are as high as 8.3 million, while the treasury only has 2.4 million. So not even the gaming chains from last cycle are even surviving. So how can we have confidence that any of these games, these
Dude,
Ponzi games,
games
are
are
going to
not
last longer than a
surviving.
month?
Sorry
I
to
know.
just like detour, but the Switch revealed their little console, and yeah, GG's Nintendo. This is the first time you guys have something worth the fuck, like hardware wise. But dude, $500, $90 for a game, $90 per game. Yeah, these. I mean, the industry as a whole
That
doesn't even know how
500
to.
is before the tariff, by the way, Chief.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's and I'm just saying that the industry as a whole doesn't even know how to capture people anymore, right? So, I mean, I think Web3 gaming is on the furthest end of that spectrum of, yo, if you're having a hard time getting users, bro, these conglomerates are having an even bigger, harder time keeping people around, right? And especially without having to tax them and get that money up front. So, yeah, that's just gaming is in a sense kind of in a bad and a downward spiral on that end. I'd be curious to see Beacon moved away from Treasure last year, right? Or was in the
Go into
transition to,
abstract.
yeah. And so what they're
Abstract.
going to be doing, right? Because they're still alive and cooking, and they still have their TGE with the writs of passage and all that. So
Yeah, I mean, good things you're up here. You're in AI, and I don't know if you're in the gaming. What fixes fucking people gaming? Is it just virtual reality? Is it AR? Is it AI? Like, why? I don't know, man. And since you're up here, I figured I'd ask you, since you have been in the tech sector and before, like, where does gaming come back? I think it's AI, dude. I think we're kind of sick of all these studios kind of producing the games. I think the creator economy, are like the people buying the games, should have a say on how the game's created. And I think with AI, I think we'll start seeing that become easier and easier to do over the next 5 to 10 years, where you can just load up a PlayStation, you can go to like downloadable games, and there'll be games created by people in like a month. And